As dads, some days we feel like we have all the answers, and some days we feel like we don't have a clue. If that describes you, you're at the right place. This is the All Pro Dad Podcast. Hey, welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast, where each episode we take a look at just one question. We talk about what the experts say, what we've gotten wrong mostly, occasionally what we've gotten right, and we leave you with one simple but powerful pro move. I'm your host, Ted Lowe, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. BJ Foster. BJ, welcome.
Hey, Ted.
And Mr. Bobby Lewis.
So, man,
glad you guys are here.
Thank
Bobby
you.
is the king of marketing, and BJ is the king of content here at Family First. And you guys both have kids, so that works out. We've all got kids at the table, which makes a whole lot of sense. A lot of different ages, so ages and stages we're kind of covering. Today, I'm excited about today because it is an important topic that I don't think a lot of dads, we don't think about this enough, and it is what can dads do to lighten the load? And this is in light of Mother's Day to celebrate that, but this is all year long. What can we do to lighten the load? And we're going to respond to a Jimmy on Relationships video in just a minute. And I think it's just so powerful. So again, our question of the day is, what can dads do to lighten the load?
Yeah, you know what's interesting is the iMom podcast, which if you have not shared that with your wife or sent that to your sister or your mom or whomever, it's a really good podcast. It's got all sorts of different topics. The most popular iMom podcast episode of all time was The Invisible Load of Motherhood. That was the title of it. And the women on the podcast discussed how they just feel swamped with the stuff that has to happen as a mom. And then you get done with all your mom stuff, you got work stuff, you got wife stuff. It was the most popular one they've ever had, which tells me this is something we need to pick up the slack on because moms are feeling the load.
Not even stuff that has to be done. They just
or feel like it has to be done.
They feel like it has to be done. As guys, we would never even think about a lot of the things, but it's all things that make life better for everyone, for the entire family. And I'm like, man, I would have never thought of doing that.
It is an invisible load to us, right? And it's all the things that they do that we don't see. And all it takes is a weekend alone with your kids to realize, you're not doing it like mommy does it, or you're forgetting things. It's so important.
Yeah, last year my wife hurt her knee. She was skateboarding with our kids, which I've been told automatically makes her cooler than me. I don't skateboard with my kids because I don't want to break my knee like she did. She broke her knee. Right. She strained all the ligaments. She fractured her kneecap, all the injury you could possibly do to a knee, and she was basically laid up for weeks. Like she couldn't walk, she couldn't do anything. She had to use a wheelchair for a little bit, crutches, the whole thing. And so a lot of the responsibilities that she was doing fell to me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you do a lot around here. And I knew that she did, but it's not that I didn't appreciate it either. It's just, I didn't realize how much time it took to do all of these things that I was forced to do because she just couldn't stand. And it actually made me appreciate her even more than I already did. Not because, she was just doing all the stuff around the house that I didn't want to do, but because she didn't even mention it. She just did it. And she's like, this is what the house needs. This is a way to serve my husband. This is a way to serve my kids. I'm going to do it. And I really appreciated her more because she hurt her knee.
And I don't know about you guys, Nancy does all these things, doesn't point them out, things I don't know, and, take out the trash. And I'm like, hey, you don't have to worry about taking out the trash because I'm taking out the trash. Where's that brain? But you don't have to worry. Look at me.
The Summer Olympics in Paris last summer, there was one really cool photo where the guy won the bike race, and he stopped, got off the bike at the finish line and stood with his arms up. And there's this really cool photo. There's all these people and there's flags and he's cheering. And I saw someone take that photo and they turned it into a meme and said, when I unload the dishwasher, this is what I expect it to look like.
It's funny because it's true, right?
Yeah.
Well, talking about our Jimmy on Relationships video, we want to play you that version. You can also see it. You can get the link in our show notes. I want you to watch or listen to this.
All right, if you booked your partner a day at the spa or told her to go out with her girlfriends for Mother's Day, I just want to say, great job. But let me remind all of us, me being first on that list, a few ways we can unintentionally add stress to the relaxing day that we want her to have. 1, don't call her and ask her when she's coming back home. Don't ask her what you're supposed to feed the kids. Just give her the day off. 2, do your very best not to create any additional mental load for her. Some of the ways we can do that is by making sure she knows the kids are safe, the kids are fed, and she isn't going to come home to a mess. I'm not saying you're not normally helpful. I'm just saying go above and beyond on Sunday. Think of her coming back home and continuing to relax. And you and I both know she can't relax if the house is a mess. You know the dishes in the sink bother her. You know she's stressed when the house is cluttered. You know she normally makes dinner. So just take over those tasks so she doesn't even have to think about them. 3, so many moms feel guilty about taking time to herself. She feels guilty when she isn't helping, even though she's constantly helping. So do me a favor and ask her, is this you? And then reinforce that she doesn't need to feel guilty for taking time for herself. Reinforce that her worth and value is not from pouring from an empty cup, that she deserves this time and that you want to gift it to her. So many of our moms have more negative thought in their heads than we know. So reassure her she's worthy of kindness and respect and you're here for her. She can trust you. That's what she wants for Mother's Day. And the spa. I'm saying in addition to the spa.
So what do you guys think about that?
Honest. It's very honest. I think that a lot of us can fall into the trap of, oh, Mother's Day is here. Here's our one day to kind of make life easier, and let's have the afternoon great. And oh, what's for dinner? Like that's right. Not a true relaxing getaway, have your time day for our wives. And if you're going to do this with your mom too, it really should be more than I bought you flowers, I got you candy, like. You're good, right? Yeah, that's not what this is about. It's about dispersing the load with your wife and not having her carry so much.
Not just on Mother's Day. Like
every
that's
day,
what stood out to me is this should not be just a Mother's Day thing. This should be an everyday thing. I mean, so my wife, I love the fact that he mentioned the kitchen, because like when that is messy, it stresses my wife out. And we finally it took us too long. We created a schedule for, I have 2 nights a week. My kids have 2 nights a week, each of them. And my wife has 1 night a week where we make sure it's clean. But the problem is that she's the one that had to be on top of our kids in order to do it. And she was like, look, I need you to get on to the kids about doing their part. And I realized, I'm like, oh gosh. And then once I started getting on them, I realized this is exhausting keeping up with them. And in fact, I'm thinking about it right now. I've gotten off of that and I need to get back on that.
That's good.
And he mentioned the gifts or the events or whatever it is you want to provide for your wife. Go to the spa, do your nails, or just get time away and all that sort of stuff. And guys do that. I was looking up some of the stats and it's staggering. There was like $35 billion spent on Mother's Day in 2023. Incredible amount. And I did read that the floral industry makes 1/4 of its annual revenue on one day, Mother's Day, every year, second only to Valentine's Day. So like guys are going over the top buying stuff, but I don't think our wives just want the stuff. No. That's not what they're in it for.
It's an event mentality with relationships. Like I'm going to serve, or I'm going to during these special times an event. And one of the biggest examples for me is I'm kind of like the holiday cheermeister. Nancy said, you're fun guy, you're vacation guy. And so when we go on a vacation, I mean, I take care of all the details of where we're going, whatever. And I find myself so frustrated with everybody asking me, what's next? What are we doing next, Dad? What are we going to have to eat, Dad? And I'm like, hey, you guys need to back off. Like, and I think, wow, they are constantly doing that to Nancy all year long. And I'm thinking, I have to do it for a few days on vacation. So that was a real eye opener to me. And I think for me, as I'm watching this, to go, the load shouldn't be invisible. We need to know what's going on. And then our serving of them needs to be almost invisible, where we're not asking for the parade, because that's the joke, right? Like we make the joke, I taking the trash out, yay me. But it is the thing of, I'm not doing this because, I'm taking something off your plate, as much as I'm doing this because this is my role too.
Right.
Like this house is ours. These kids are ours.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a thing of them not feeling like, when I hear Dad say, yeah, I got to babysit my kids tonight. And you're like, dude, are you trying to get killed using that kind of language?
You mean parent?
Yeah.
You don't babysit?
And I think that just can blanket so much if we're not careful. And I was talking to one of the guys here on staff at Family First, and he was talking about his wife is part of the putting together a play in production. And he said, I realize how much she does. He goes, when I've got a lot going on at work, I assume that she's going to take care of it. And then now that I'm having to take care of this, it's the assumption's not there. It's a little bit more, I've got a lot of questions and what am I doing? So I think it's this thing of them feeling the lightening of the load in almost this invisible way where we're not doing it to get credit. We're doing it because we love them and they need help. At the end of the day, our wives need our help.
Yeah. Our research clearly shows that unequal distribution of the mental load of taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, keeping your marriage strong, unequal distribution leads to resentment in your relationship. And it sets a really unhealthy example for your kids because your kids are watching. And I know this is the case because about a week or so ago, my son was just not respecting my wife the way that he should have been. And I pulled him in to his bedroom and I said, listen, mommy's not asking you to do whatever the chore was. I think it was dishes, whatever the chore was, because she hates you. Like she's asking you because she needs the help and it's your day. And so I actually got 2 little cups and he's got a BB gun. And so we took the BBs that were in his room in a little can and I put like 10 in 1 cup. Took the other cup and I put 2 in there. I said, okay, now what do you see? He goes, well, there's more BBs in that cup. I was like, yeah, this is mommy's cup. I'm like, look at your cup. He's like, there's only 2. I was like, yeah, there's only 2. You can handle these 2. Look, she didn't give you 10. She's still doing more than you, but you're capable at this age, at this stage of life, of carrying 2 BBs. Don't give her 1. If you don't do the dishes, it's like you pick this BB up and you give her 11. And he goes, oh, well, that's not good. I was like, no, because it still has to get done. We still have to do the dishes. And I think the visual really helped him. And I said, listen, you are 9 years old now. You're capable of helping. I don't want you to be taking BBs off your bowl and putting them in mommy's bowl because it just makes it harder for her. And then I explained, I do stuff too. Your sister does stuff too. It's not all on you, but everyone has to share.
Particularly the amount of BBs I'm giving her.
Yeah. I gave her 46 BBs. No, but I think explaining it in that way really resonated with him. And he realized, I can help. I can help a little more.
Right.
Yeah. And that probably speaks to, because you've talked occasionally about with your son, he is very logical, right? Or he likes visual. And so you can share that with him. That's really good. Because I think sometimes when kids are older, maybe not as much or open to that as much. But I think whatever it is for your kid to go, oh, he gets it. Visually, he gets that.
One thing we do, you talked about dishes and you distribute that throughout all the kids. Your kid's a little bit older, so they can reach the top shelf. My kids can't do that. So they're kind of limited with the dishes, but we all have a specific role in the dishes. My 5-year-old, she has to put away the forks because that's where she can reach. And then our 9-year-old, he has to put away the Tupperware because that's where he can reach. And then our 13-year-old, she's tall, she can reach the mugs and put them on the top shelf. But everybody does something when they unload the dishwasher. And so it doesn't feel unfair, but my wife doesn't have to do it. She loads the dishwasher, we all unload the dishwasher. It's kind of a shared chore in that way. But she can't load it again unless we have unloaded it. We have to take the stuff out so she can continue to do her role and we can continue to our role. And it's really symbiotic. But the kids know I have this thing that I need to do in order to make life easier for the rest of the people in the family.
I love that. And I love the idea of imagining what she's going to sense if she walks in and thinks, I got to unload the dishwasher, and she sees that it's unloaded on the regular, not just because you want to, an award. I'd rather build a log cabin than unload the dishwasher, but it makes her so happy. And so I think it's that of just going, if she walks into this room, is it a delight or a surprise that it's not going to be all these things I thought I was going to have to do? And so just taking more and more of that load away is possible.
It's amazing. Years ago, I wrote an article called 5, I think it was something along the lines of 5 ways that women want men to take initiative. And I thought this might be an interesting topic. And it was really interesting to kind of see the women in the comments section. I feel like you read my mind in terms of, I feel like you just listened to a conversation between my husband and I, because I think we get into a place where we're like, she's got it. And if there was a problem, she would tell me. And we assume that everything's fine, but kind of taking the initiative on, okay, what do you, like a lot of different areas, planning vacations, which you do, which I think is unusual in most relationships. That I think in most, it's kind of the wife is looking to do X, Y, and Z and kind of writing everything down. At least it definitely is in my house. But like to taking the household stuff and, but that's the thing. I just think if we took the initiative more, even when we think that things are okay, we kind of get passive and kind of think she's got her thing and I'm busy over here. But really, like Bobby said, and my wife's a flight attendant when she leaves a couple times a month, and I'm like, she calls while she's gone. I'm like, I don't have time to talk to you because I'm doing, I'm doing.
It's
all
funny you mentioned vacation because we just took a family trip a few weeks ago, and as you said the word family vacation, it brought back to mind like I only packed my clothes. I didn't pack a single thing for any of our three kids, but they all had stuff. Yeah, I didn't think about it one time. And now I'm thinking, I don't think I've ever packed the kids' clothes for anything. I pack my stuff because I know what I need, underwear, pants, whatever. I just throw it in there and I walk away. And then magically the whole suitcase is packed an hour later. And I'm like, it didn't just magically show up. She packed it. And, it's stuff like that. I don't know that I've ever thought about that before.
When we do an outing with my wife there, it's like the kids will be like, hey, I'm hungry. And my wife's like, oh yeah, well, here's the snack bag. Yeah. And are you thirsty too? Yeah, I brought your favorite drinks and all that. Right. It's all these little things that women do that are amazing. Like I take my kids the same thing and my kid goes, I'm hungry. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to go leave now.
Yeah. Why didn't you think to bring yourself a snack?
We were there for 15 minutes. Yeah, they're hungry. Now we're leaving.
Like I would always take my middle son, his tradition was to go camping on his birthday, and we would take buddies, we'd do other things. And the first year he leans over and he's like 8. He goes, Dad, am I going to get presents? And I said, buddy, here's how this works. When your mom does birthday parties, you're going to know if you're going to get presents. You're going to know exactly what's going on. When I take you, we're going to go camping. We're going to stay for 2 days. You're not going to have to bathe, and we're going to shoot a lot of things with BB guns. But I have zero clue if you're going to get presents. And he would look to me and was like, oh, that tracks. Like he just wanted to know, like, I need to prepare myself emotionally. Am I going to get anything?
I don't even know what we're eating.
Yeah, going. Yeah, it's whatever you're going to hit with that BB gun is what we're grilling up.
And my wife, the thing we talked about is, our wives do a lot and they have this mental load. And the thing is, my wife's good at it. Like she's very capable, but I still don't want her to have to do it.
Exactly.
Like I want to step in so that, she can carry 100 pounds, but wouldn't it be nice for her to only have to carry 60 or 30 or 20? Like you don't have to do the full 100, even if you're capable of it. And so I hope that people listening and watching, they would maybe take a little bit of a mental, note and say, is there a spot I can pick up more slack? Is there a spot where I don't want to necessarily do this, but man, it would really be a blessing to my wife if I decided that I would do fill in the blank this week or from now on,
Right.
There's got to be something in every relationship where the husband can sacrificially step in and say, I'm going to lighten this load for you and I'm going to do it. And my kids are going to see it and they're going to say, oh gosh, look at the way that dad serves mom. I think that's a really awesome opportunity for dads, and not to do it for credit, but do it because you love your wife.
Right. And get the information. And I think there's this tension between not making them delegate and having the right information. Because I had learned on Saturdays when there's projects around the house to ask her, which of these is most important to you? And these wouldn't be even projects that she would normally do. It would just be, which would you prefer? Which I found out pretty quickly. It was not the big job. Like sometimes it was something I wouldn't even thought of. But I also think this thing of not putting the responsibility on your wife to delegate to you. It is to observe what's going on and get ahead of game for her so she doesn't even have to do this, because it's all this mental work they're having to do to put all the pieces together to watch all that happen. My wife is the queen of that. And I can't tell you how many times I'll ask a question and she's 12 steps ahead of me. So I'll never catch her, but I do feel like there's things that we can do. And with that, I think
can I just say, please. I think that's where a lot of guys get passive because they're like, I can't keep up with her. So therefore she's got it. And then she blows up and gets upset and frustrated, and then he's mad and dejected and frustrated, and it's a cycle. So whatever it takes, you got to try to keep up with them.
And the whole springboard for this conversation was Mother's Day. And I think we're good about doing it for birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas. Like, we can put on a good I'll take care of it show for one day, but our wives deserve more than one day.
That's good.
And so I think if we build this into a regular rhythm in our relationships, it'll set the tone for the whole year and really bring more peace to your home.
Number one, in light of invisible work, is to acknowledge the invisible work. It is to acknowledge, and my wife would say she's not a words person. I am words about. She is acts of service. But where she is a words person is when I acknowledge specifically what she has done. I'll say, wow, thanks for doing X, Y, Z. And I say this to her constantly. After my mom passed when I was 10, all the details that my mom knew that would, get your coat, don't forget to sign up, don't forget about your biology exam, all those different things that she kept up with was gone. And that's no slam on my dad, but I tell her so often, I love that you know every detail of our kids' lives. And I want to help her and not be responsible, but I do want to acknowledge that you have got a lot on you, and you don't ask and you don't acknowledge, but I think we've got to acknowledge the invisible work. Number two is step up without being asked. Don't make your wives delegate. And we get ahead of the game and we do these things for them and we just start making them again. It's not vent-like mentality. Number three is reframe household roles as teamwork. It's not about helping your wife. It's about partnering with your wife and changing that dynamic. It's so huge. I can't believe how much the language I'm having to watch. Even I'm convicted right now as we're talking and going, ooh, I think I put the delegation on her, but just to say, hey, this is ours to do together. And just have time throughout the week where you kind of plan a time to talk about what's going on, and that they're not having to even come up with that, but just say, hey, let's take a look at our week about what we have going on. And then you start to get on the same page there. My little piece of advice for this is someone told us, don't talk about anything before 9 a.m. that's important or after 9 p.m. And that has been huge for us. I need a hot minute in the morning. And my wife jumps out of bed like an electric chihuahua. And I'm like, hey, give me a minute. And then I'm up at night, right? And so I think it's, what is that sweet spot time for you guys to talk about that? Number four, and BJ, I want you to speak to this, is teach kids to contribute. You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we took too long to kind of involve kids in the chores around the house, and probably because it goes faster. Like one of the things that I noticed was when it was our kids cleaning the kitchen and emptying the dishwasher, I noticed that there were like things put away in different places. And I was like, oh, I guess we're keeping stuff over here now. And I started doing it too. And finally my wife was like, why are all of these dishes over here? And I was like, oh, I thought we were, but
why are the plates in the coffee table?
But if we did all this stuff earlier, it all of a sudden we've got 4 people working on stuff rather than 2 people working on stuff. Well, rather than 1.5 and 0.5 working on stuff. And then it just kind of, things go quicker. Things are easier. Things are lighter. But you can't leave it like I did. You can't leave it to her to get the kids on, their chores. You have to be on top of them and you have to be checking in with them. And if you take the initiative and do that, oh my gosh, she's going to love you for it.
Oh yeah. It's a little song and we still tease about it. It's clean up, everybody do your share. Everybody everywhere.
Right.
And so all right, kids, they go, oh no, clean up, everybody do your share. But I feel like our kids were pretty good at that. They're slobs now that they have their own space. But yeah, this is so powerful. And number 5, finally, is make Mother's Day and every day meaningful. We're thinking about reflecting on the Jimmy's own relationship. Don't just celebrate moms on Mother's Day. It's,
one of the things that was in that video that stuck out to me was act as if when she gets home, she can still relax. If you're going to send her to the spa or whatever his example was, when she gets home, can she still relax? Or is there just going to be a mountain of stuff that she's going to feel compelled to do because she's like, well, it's got to get done, take care of your wife on Mother's Day so that whatever she wants to do, she can do and doesn't have to worry about anything after that.
Right. My wife, for probably 15 years, goes on a trip with 3 of her best friends. And our goal was always, I wanted her to walk back in and it feel nice. Which, you're battling with littles, especially like yours.
Gosh.
That feels impossible. So you just wait till the very end and you get, but I think I used to say, hey, make sure you call me when you're a couple of hours out, just so I can wrap it up. Not that I would wait till
I'll get all these Legos out of the bed. I promise.
I promise. But what are some things and how do we help give them a mental load-free day? Sometimes we just say, hey, what can I do to partner with you? Again, this is the language. This is our house. And one of the things, somebody gave me a great piece of advice is ask your wife, what can I do to make this weekend a 10?
Perfect.
You guys, this has been good. This is convicting to me. It's compelling to me. And I got some work to do.
Yeah, so do I.
It's so important, right? So important for our dads. What I've found is dads and husbands, we don't have bad hearts. We just can sometimes have bad habits. And so in light of making a better habit, we want to move to the pro move of the week. Choose one task without asking your wife's preference that can be taken off her plate and stick with it. So you got to figure it out. It's invisible work and you got to do a little detective work without asking her to delegate it and try that this week. You guys, this was good. We can do this. It's not impossible.
You gave me homework. I love it.
We've got a little homework, all 3 of us. And so thank you. Thank you for joining us. And most of all, thank you for joining us. And if you will, can you go and rate and review this podcast? It helps other people to find us. And if you're looking for more, ways to stay on the top of your dad game, you can go to allprodad.com or you can check out our LinkedIn profiles, which are in the show notes. But we most of all want to say thank you for listening. We know that you and your kids will be glad that you did. Thanks for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. Subscribe to our daily email, the All Pro Dad Play of the Day, by going to allprodad.com/subscribe and get daily powerful and practical fatherhood tips in your inbox. The All Pro Dad podcast is hosted by me, Ted Lowe, produced by Bobby Lewis.